If you haven't heard of Elon Musk, you've heard of his company Tesla, or his recent acquisition of Twitter. Maybe you've heard of Neuralink, and you know it's a project to develop a brain implant capable of creating a human-computer interface. What you haven't heard is that in 2022, something happened at Neuralink, an extremely disturbing development.
I sign up to test out your neural net program.
Well, you just put this USB-C port in your head, and and then don't worry, it'll be fine.
Neuralink began under Elon Musk in 2016 as a way for him to lead the charge on human advancement. The original concept of Neuralink by Musk was to give humanity an edge with the advent of advanced AI technology, allowing us to seamlessly interact with the digital world around us. The device is a chip that is inserted into the brain, allowing it to connect with the electrically charged neurons that dictate and process everything about what we think, we see, hear, and feel. Neuralink decodes those intentions and information and would send that over Bluetooth to the user's computer. Users would initially learn to control a virtual mouse. Later, as users got more practice and the adaptive decoding algorithms improved, users would be able to control multiple devices, including a keyboard or a game controller. Neuralink would essentially create the first true synthesis of the human brain and a computer. If Musk's Neuralink could crack the code and ultimately decrypt the human mind, they could harness the raw computational power and connective capability of a computer to the soft, malleable matter of the human mind. Fast forward to 2020, Musk and Neuralink conduct a live stream progress report, showcasing the device's development in an experiment Musk calls 3 Little Pigs. These 3 pigs were the first test subjects to have the Neuralink device implanted into their brains directly. The swine used in these experiments, however, would predicate a curious trend with Neuralink's research. In 2022, reports begin to pour in about Neuralink's test results. According to an investigation conducted by Reuters, the company has killed more than 1,500 animals, including more than 280 sheep, pigs, and monkeys following experiments since 2018, according to records reviewed by Reuters and sources with direct knowledge of the company's animal testing operations. The sources characterized that figure as a rough estimate because the company doesn't keep precise records of the number of animals tested upon and ultimately killed. Nevertheless, it would serve to expose the pile of bodies growing at the tech giant's feet. Human error, unforeseen side effects, and medical anesthesia were reportedly to blame for most, nearly all, of the deaths. It's also worth noting that many of these animals were put down after the experiment, according to various protocols and guidelines. But the most disturbing results were from subjects that had integrated with the technology itself. Now I want you to try something, and bear with me here. See if you can telepathically like this video and subscribe to Dark Frontier. In February of 2022, reports began to emerge that suggested the highly experimental Neuralink research was producing results, but not the kind that would earn Musk a Nobel Prize or another cover photo on Time magazine. Some of the monkey test subjects suffered infection, others something more psychological. Either way, the implant was killing its test subjects. The initial complaint was filed by the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine with the U.S. Department of Agriculture over the perturbing research conducted at the University of California at Davis. These reports alleged that the brain implant device, the Neuralink, was causing unspeakable suffering in the test subjects. The suit filed by the PCRM also urged the university and Neuralink to reduce the photos and videos and the detailed records of the monkeys, between January 2016 and December 2022. This is something they've still yet to do as of February 2023. The medical staff failed to provide dying monkeys with adequate veterinary care, used an unapproved substance known as bioglue that killed monkeys by destroying portions of their brains, and failed to provide for the psychological well-being of monkeys assigned to the experiment, and alleged that the university withheld these public records under the pretext of preventing a chilling effect on academic research. The Regents simultaneously claims that it knows nothing about the content of the video footage. The lawsuit also suggests that the need to disclose this controversial evidence is hindered by Neuralink's commercial appeal, specifically the spread of information on Twitter. Moreover, any privacy interest in the records is substantially reduced because Neuralink regularly showcases the details of the experiments for commercial purposes on Twitter, in the press, and in online videos. The lawsuit goes on to detail that the agreement between UC Davis and Neuralink seems to be less of an understanding and more of a chokehold. Neuralink allegedly fields any and all inquiries into the research that are directed towards the university, telling staff in an email uncovered during the lawsuit in response to an open records request that there will be a time for press releases and the right attention, but that time is not now. We do take the confidentiality components of our agreement very, very seriously. Of the few records that were released by Neuralink and the university regarding the experiments, most, if not all, were drenched in black ink, redacting the specific details that would offer even a shred of accountability. Documents from the PCRM revealed that a total of 23 rhesus macaque monkeys were experimented on. While all were abused or neglected in some way, 9 of the 23 suffered exponentially. Animal 6, a 6-year-old primate, was used to install the Neuralink device. It was drilled into the monkey's skull and fastened there, but rejected by the primate. Staff observed that the device began to show through the monkey's skin and became infected as the monkey would attempt to pick it from its own head. Animal 10, 8 years old, appeared to show signs of self-mutilation, leaving unspecified tissue on the floor of its cage. Animal 11, an 11-year-old rhesus macaque monkey, had the Neuralink device drilled into her brain in December of 2018. Soon after, it became chronically infected. In March of 2019, after 3 months of grotesque observation, Animal 11 was found to have self-mutilated. That is, she was missing her own fingers and the toes on her right foot. By all accounts, it appeared that she had removed them herself. Animal 12 began to experience severe seizures after being outfitted with the brain device and was kept alive under observation for over a week, before records of the monkey abruptly ended with no further detail disclosed. Animal 15's adverse response to the psychological trauma seemingly brought on by Neuralink was chronicled at first in the same way others had been, picking at the implant, attempting to claw it out. Curiously, Animal 15 seemed to stop trying to claw the device out when it became acquainted with another primate near its cell. 15 would hold hands with its neighbor and groom it. It would also become terrified of certain other individuals that would enter the room and resort to pressing its head against the cage. The animal was finally saved by euthanasia, only for the autopsy to reveal that the erratic behavior was due to loose electro threads and what they called a tattered cerebral cortex. The most peculiar finding, however, was not what was revealed, but rather what wasn't. 2 monkeys, Animal 4 and Animal 23, were largely unaccounted for. They were brushed off, their records stating only terminated or scheduled for euthanization. No detailed medical records, nor even heavily redacted autopsy reports exist for these monkeys as did for others. However, the PCRM insists there must be dispositions for these monkeys. What experiments could have been done that were so heinous the evidence had to be buried completely? It should be noted that while primates like the macaque are prone to self-injury under duress, Nothing has ever revealed itself as severely as the cases influenced by the Neuralink device. The bloody results of Musk's Neuralink experiments beg the question, how did this happen? In July 2019, a report was published from medical journal site Nature that concluded an interview with a brain-computer link test subject named Patient 6. Patient 6 was participating in a brain-computer interface, or BCI, study at the University of Tasmania in Hobart, Australia.
"It becomes part of you," she told Nature. "You grow gradually into it and get used to it, so it then becomes a part of every day. It became me."
Patient 6's brain implant was installed to give her smartphone a warning against impending epileptic seizures, allowing her to take medicine and prepare for the medical emergency as it would happen. Brain-computer interfacing technology is not a new concept, and neither are the troubling side effects. In the 1980s, scientists in France began experimenting with deep brain stimulation, or DBS, where they would implant electrodes into the brains of individuals suffering from Parkinson's. They aimed to pass current through regions of the brain they thought were responsible for tremors. These violent, debilitating tremors would cease the moment the electrodes were activated. In 1997, the FDA approved DBS for use in Parkinson's patients, as well as those battling with obsessive-compulsive disorder and epilepsy, and mental health conditions such as depression and anorexia. Ethicist Frederick Gilbert with the University of Tasmania told Nature, "DBS is very effective, to the point that it can distort patients' perceptions of themselves. You just wonder, how much is you anymore? How much of it is my thought pattern? How would I deal with this if I didn't have the stimulation system? You feel kind of artificial." Gilbert described a DBS patient who began to gamble compulsively, blowing his family's savings and seeming not to care. He could only understand the consequences when the stimulation was turned off. A peer-reviewed research paper penned for Biomed Central stated the following: "Even non-invasive brain-computer interface devices may pose serious risks of harm. Some authors wonder whether the brain's plasticity in still developing children and even in adults could bring about unknown negative side effects. And the unknown reversibility of these side effects presents yet another worry. Would the brain or the user return to normal after a BCI is removed?" At the time of these initial reports, Musk was ready to move on to human testing, even seeking out initial volunteers. Once these controversies came to light, he backed down on human testing and changed his rhetoric on the Neuralink technology, now stating it's being developed to help the handicapped, which was supposedly Neuralink's goal all along. Speaking of rhetoric, is it a coincidence that he made a power play for one of the world's largest social media platforms? The legal action against Neuralink and the University of Davis was first filed in February of 2022. 1 month later, in March, Musk began to publicly criticize the social networking website Twitter, before purchasing a majority share in the site and being invited to join the board of directors. Soon after, a legal battle erupted, with Musk seeking to buy the company outright. Musk was adamant that he would not budge on the matter of Twitter revealing how many of their active users were actually bot accounts, used by companies and allegedly political figures in swaying public perception and trends. The back and forth continued between Musk and the Twitter board, with Musk even threatening to walk away from the purchase, leading him to be sued by the board. While all this was going on, the PCRM was building an update to their case. At the end of September 2022, the Physicians Committee published an update to their lawsuit, revealing that the existence of nearly 400 photos of the Neuralink experiments was confirmed and proven by UC Davis. Days later, in early October, Musk submitted a proposal to move forward with the Twitter acquisition, choosing to forfeit the legal battle entirely and buy the company outright at a major financial loss. Then, in December, he announced that human trials were back on the table for Neuralink. Not only that, allegedly they're to start in the next 6 months.